Three, and my name is Shola Rogers.
Hi. My name is Oladulupo. Sorry.
Odoyewu.
My
Odoyewu.
name is Oladulupo. But you're warm welcome to the bar this wonderful afternoon. Um, you know, it's been a very interesting set of days and in Nigeria as a whole. So you know, there are a lot of things that happens. The one thing that is on everybody's lips is what exactly is happening with our currency. And now the more confusing part is that there are a lot of conflicting orders and stories and things like that. There's a Supreme Court order. There's a presidential order. There are governorship orders.
And there's the CBN order still.
And there's the CBN order. So which one do we follow?
Every time they give out some of these national awards and say commander of the national order or order of the commander of the federation, apparently this is what they were talking about. Something about orders here and there that
Because at this
rather
point,
than make things better, it's confusing.
extremely confusing and
But it's our job to
for people that do not understand
break it
what we're
down.
talking about. So right now in Nigeria, as the latest order that we've gotten is from the president. Maybe we should backtrack.
Yeah.
From February 10th, there was an order from the CBN that the old currency stops being legal tender. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, February 8th, there was an order from the Supreme Court that was said that the CBN and the federal government should halt whatever it is that they were doing. Yeah? Now we get to February 11, I think, where there was a pronouncement from the CBN governor that the February 10 deadline was going to stay. And then a lot of governors had come up. Take, for example, Kaduna State Governor. I know Kogi State Governor had also made that proclamation. Then the Ondo State Governor said his own. Then the Ogun State. The latest one, Lagos State Governor, they're threatening banks that do not collect
the old
note.
Naira.
So yesterday evening there was news that there was going to be a 7 a.m. broadcast from the president this morning. And by the time I watched it, by the time the president, long and short of that broadcast was that the president had ordered the central bank to release the old 200 Naira notes and the old 200 Naira notes. Keep in mind, old 200 Naira notes are going to be in circulation till April 10th, and that the what's the word now? The 500 Naira, 1,000 Naira old notes are no longer legal tender anymore.
So that is the big
Breakdown.
statement that we were waiting for. Sadly, it fell short of anything that I was expecting personally. Like if you asked me to write the speech for Mr. President or advise him, my big statement would have been that fellow Nigerians, I have seen what you're all going through. This policy is meant to make things better. I'm sorry that the CBN governor lied to me about the process and how ready they were. It is glaring that they are not on top of this situation. For this reason, I have asked him to resign or proceed on terminal leave. Mr. XYZ will act as governor in his stead. However, because Nigeria spent so much in making these new notes and they are not readily available, we are pushing the deadline to another 6 months. But we cannot make that decision because there is a case in the Supreme Court. I, as the president, respect the court, and I would wait for the decision of the court next week.
Nice speech. That wasn't what President Buhari said.
Thank you. That's what I wanted him to say.
Okay. Unfortunately, we all don't get what we want. The long and short of it is that this morning's speech gave us another insight that this whole drama is emanated from President Buhari and not Governor Emefiele.
Oh, clear gone.
Maybe that is why there's a lot of stalling, and maybe it's high time there's some apologies that need to go to the governor of the CBN.
No apologies because
the only issue why I will not have an apology, or maybe there should be an explanation, is the reason is because if you're going to change the currency, the least you can do is provide people enough cash. I have a feeling that this no Naira, this no cash issue is actually deliberate, and not deliberate in a totally bad way. I feel that they're trying so hard to mop up so much cash that they don't even want that much cash to be in circulation, so they did not produce as much.
It's not a Naira swap. They are clarifying it.
Yeah, it's definitely not a Naira.
It's a mop-up.
We're at a point where it is obvious it's definitely not a Naira swap.
It is a mop-up. What the CBN is doing, what the Nigerian government is doing, is that they want to reduce Naira in circulation. They are still talking about how there's still 600 billion Naira in circulation, which means that in the last 2 weeks, they've also been able to mop up another 300 billion. Now, from 3.2 trillion, you have mopped up, about 2.7 trillion now. We're talking about 600 billion in circulation. Even if, for whatever reasons, you really, really, really want to get these things off, it has to be a process. It's not going to be the way you're doing it, because you're not thinking about the entire picture. A lot of people said it's a policy targeted at politicians, and they have also insinuated that politicians have subverted the system and everything.
It's very possible, but they're people, they're the unbanked. What happens to people that they tell you that you should look for other alternatives? Alternatives, like, let's even assume that the e-channels are working, which they're not. Let's even assume they're all working perfectly. Is it everybody that owns a smartphone that can be able to download these apps, that would be able to use the e-Naira? And the honest truth is that we have a lot of what's the word now?
Unbanked people?
Not even unbanked. I don't want to say indirectly employed people, because as they say, our unemployment rate is high. I don't believe it. I feel that there are a lot of people that do a lot of indirect labor.
Yeah, they usually refer to them as the informal sector.
Yeah, the informal sector.
And all of that.
We have a lot of people in the informal sector that their businesses are based on cash. I'm not sure that the president and the CBN governor thought of those set of people through and through. And if you're going to do that, I would feel that you would have educated these people to a large extent before doing this mop-up. Because yes, I think it is obvious that we're definitely not a cash swap. We're past that level now.
One of the top presidential contenders in Nigeria, I think is Mr. Rabiu Kwankwaso. Insinuated or alleged that most of the top presidential candidates own banks. We can't doubt the
veracity of that statement.
We can't.
When you really think about it, there are a lot of them that are billionaires.
They are all billionaires, all of them. At least the top 3 guys are billionaires. So there is no way this policy is affecting them directly. Again, they're talking about how it's for vote buying, it's for vote buying. It's going to have a counter effect.
It is going to.
In our books, I think we both agree on this one. When people are starved of funds for too long, I mean, you're targeting the the politicians and the people that you believe they are buying votes from are the non-politicians and the regular people.
They're being starved of funds.
Any available funds at this point in time.
People are going to take. People are definitely going to take.
I think it's.
I would have even preferred. I felt that the CBN is not very smart in what they're doing. As much as you do not want to print as much money, we seem to forget. We have said it times without number. We have 100 Naira notes. We have 50 Naira notes. It is time to bring out those notes. It is time to produce those lesser denomination en masse and give to people.
So again, I get what Doluba said, and I think the CBN is already doing that. There are people with pictures and videos of them getting coins from the bank and getting 150 Naira notes from transactions in the bank. That's one. But if the president makes a broadcast and is saying that the CBN should release 200 Naira to Nigerians, old and new, for 60 days, let us now agree together that it's the president that is calling the shots.
Oh, yeah.
If Mr. President has said that, does that also mean that then I saw one of his supporters saying, oh, what the president has done means that people should go and withdraw their cases from the Supreme Court. No, sir. I don't like engaging people. The man is someone that virtually worships President Buhari. And it's like, oh, that people, then the governor should go and withdraw that. No. What he has done is simply to say that the Supreme Court, and I don't need to be a lawyer to say what I'm about to say, that the Supreme Court does not matter. That anything they're saying,
he has actually flouted the order of the Supreme Court, and now it takes a lot because it shows us now who is a higher authority in the land, the Supreme Court or the president.
Well, it depends. When it comes to matters of law, and this is a matter of law, the Supreme Court is the ultimate.
And now I have a question in that regard. We have a legislature, the Senate and the House of Representatives. What are they saying on this matter? Last I checked, they're also supposed to call the president to order.
We have not heard from them. And it begs the question anyway, because a lot of people have been insinuating that it's a rubber stamp assembly, a rubber stamp assembly.
At this point, are you doubting it?
This is where we are.
I really honestly thought that at some point, the House of Assembly would have said something. Would have asked the president to,
The closest we have come is when the Speaker of the House took on the governor of the central bank, and he tackled him and read the law to him and said, this is the law that you claim is empowering you.
And you know what?
And again, that law is an existing law that actually says, and this is where it is dangerous, where the president is treading, the part that Mr. President has chosen. The existing law says that this money should still be legal tenders and you should bring it in and all of that.
And the one that even annoying me is that I agree, let's give honor to whom honor is due. I think that in recent times, our House of Representatives is doing a lot more. They're putting themselves out there more. The Senate, on the other hand, when it comes to major issues like this, we literally hear nothing.
Yeah, we don't.
From the Senate.
We don't. And this is the sad part now. Now, the thing is that all this drama, all this talk, when it comes down to brass tacks, farmers are still complaining.
Yeah.
Now, you come up with some spurious claim that the Naira swap or mop-up has improved the economy. But yesterday, the statistics for inflation showed, and it has gone up.
It has gone up.
And there was a write-up in one of the news medias. It's some professor, Professor Uche, I can't remember his surname now, is the president or the chairman of the Chartered Institute of Bankers in Abuja. And he was talking about more or less like I think it was on AIT TV today. It was talking about the pros and cons of this thing. One of the things I insinuated was that the decrease in the use of the decrease in the payment of ransoms and stuff. I'm like, slow down. Where do you get the statistics from?
It might be right because
but you can't prove that.
Yes, you can't prove it. But if there is no cash, if there's no cash readily available, and we all know that these illicit acts are really done with cash
because cash can be
traced, like electronic transfers and all that. So yes, it could be possible.
Okay,
it's very possible. So, I think I agree with that angle.
Okay, it's possible, but we don't have the statistics.
We don't have the stats
now. He talked about he talked about the increased use of the e-channels.
Yeah,
you can also agree with that.
Yeah, we can agree with that. The only issue is that now we know that for a fact, because now a lot of apps and all these people's stuff is crashing, people's monies are hanging in the air and all that, which that is an angle that maybe the CBN and the banks should have stepped up before we came up with this.
So just like every time there's a policy that affects the mass, of Nigerians, the large number of Nigerians, they always come with afterthoughts. Nigeria is known globally for, the success she has created in the fintech world.
Yeah.
Financial payment solutions are like the forte of Nigerians and Kenyans when it comes to fintech in the world, not just in Africa.
Yeah. Are we saying that we can't find apps that work?
Should the CBN not have sat down with all the the palm pays and all the flutterwaves, cowrie and
you don't even have to do all that. Are we saying that these banks cannot get people to upgrade their existing payment platform?
That's one, and they should have done that. But again, in decentralizing, because I believe that decentralizing a lot of things will bring solutions to us.
Yeah.
So in decentralizing the banking industry, it will bring in more people. We're mentioning brands for good. When it's for bad, we're holding back. So you guys see that we're basically portraying most of the brands in good light.
And it's like you said.
We went to a filling station, and all the transactions that were run before and after us did not fail because that filling station was using one particular POS terminal. It was OPay.
So the question is, which I've seen a lot of people talk about this OPay and they're like that.
What is OPay using that Nigerian banks cannot use?
Exactly my question.
Now, in 3 weeks,
seem like it's fair.
In 3 weeks, I have lost. I'm not a very rich person, but it's painful. I've lost about 37,000 naira from 3 transactions that are hanging. And every time you make those transactions, you now have to do a transfer and it goes through.
And then there's a second one and there's a third one at times. And
then you now have to hold on and call and do all that. But you see, again, the CBN should have taken everything into cognizance.
Yes, the CBN.
They should have spoken to the POS operators directly.
I'm sure they have an association.
Do you understand?
I'm sure they do.
At some point, the POS people were afraid that they were going to lose out with the bank, but it's obvious that we need them.
They're the ones making.
They're an important part of the ecosystem.
They're the ones making a lot of money right now.
Talking about that, one of them was arrested, I think, in Kano.
Yeah. Kano is also another.
I think we need to take a look at Kano maybe before we proceed. So what we're saying in essence is that there are things that the CBN should have done that they didn't do. And it's because they didn't do a risk assessment. They didn't do a proper one. If they ever did it, they didn't do a proper one that will let them see that, look, there are over 200 million Nigerians. How many percentage of these people are banked? The unbanked people, the informal sector. How are you going to cater to their needs? The fact that the Naira is available to them, shows you how important it is that they are to the Nigerian economy. Because someone doesn't have a bank account doesn't mean that he's a bad person now.
Oh, yeah.
I know older friends of mine who would never, for the life of them, ever download any bank app. There's one of them that I just helped download the app like 2 weeks ago. And he was like, And it's easier. I said, yes, it is. You know, but you can't force them, because if
can't
something
force
goes
them,
wrong
yeah.
now, they will tell you are the one that put them on the app.
Yeah.
So you need to factor all those kind of people in. They're not illiterate. They're just being safe.
They're just being
because
safe.
they don't trust the system. That's what we're talking about here.
I think that.
So the CBN to me is culpable.
Yes.
And Mr. President, on his own part,
probably trusted the CBN too much. Still trusting the CBN too much. The governor of the CBN has come out. He has directed bank executives to release the 200 Naira notes. There's still a conversation of if the president is flouting the order of the Supreme Court or not.
Yeah, isn't there some story about some lawyers and all?
Yeah, anyway, before we also get to that point, there is a story that the governor of Kaduna State has now alleged that some federal government officials are seeking an out-of-court settlement for their case.
This is a very heavy statement. I know that the governor of Kaduna is a man that understands the court process a lot. There are cases where he has even sued people that put out statements that he didn't like.
He seems to enjoy the court.
I don't even know about enjoy. I just know that he respects the court a lot. So for him to make that kind of statement, he definitely must be speaking the truth, because he wouldn't want to jeopardize his own integrity and all. And if it is true that they are actually reaching out to the governors, the federal government is reaching out to the governors, then does that mean that the federal government knows that it's doing something wrong and it's trying to have its way regardless? You know? Are they just trying to have their way? How is it that you get sued to the Supreme Court? Your lawyer or the lead lawyer for you comes out to say, oh, the Supreme Court shouldn't be sitting. Then comes out to say, oh, they are going to obey it. Then turns around that Mr. President...
Because I remember there was actually a statement coming out to say that... Anyway, let me just be quiet.
So it's not fair, because, again, looking at it, yesterday we were here, we're talking about protest in Ibadan. And some parts of Delta. We didn't know it was going to spread to Benin. We didn't know that.
You know, the one that is busting my brain the most about Benin?
Yeah.
Is the fact that
their governor
actually agrees to this swap policy. And he's one of the states that has major violence happening. Because it's not making sense. I'm sorry. It's not making sense.
Yeah, it's not. But what do we do? Hopefully, the CBN and the federal government would obey.
Yeah. Remember that
the Supreme
there
Court.
was also a statement from the governor of Edo State asking the DSS and the NIA and a few other people and the police to arrest former Governor Adams Oshiomhole for inciting the protest that was happening in Edo State.
Well, if you're going to make such a call, then you must have proof. Maybe the governor of Edo State has proof. You get. Maybe the governor of Edo State has a video or audio or some kind of proof that the former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole, has committed a crime and has done something wrong. You get. Because if he has, then he must pay. That's the way I say it. I'm not gonna sit back here and just be talking without knowing, like, okay, what are the facts of the matter?
Anyway, for people in Kano State, respect yourself. I know that there are a lot of governors that have come out to. I don't know if there's been a lot of enforcement. I know that Lagos State. I'm really waiting for the enforcement that Lagos State has to do. Lagos State is saying that people should not stop collecting old notes. Yeah, it's a very confusing thing. At times, you really can't blame people.
So this is the conflict there. The president of the country says the CBN should allow 200 run. The governors of at least 9 states are saying if you don't collect 500 and 1,000 naira,
you're going to be sanctioned.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, actually,
You know what that
feel
might,
a bit
what
of
that might
pity
make
for banks.
the banks will just shut down.
I really feel pity for banks.
A lot of
because
banks will be
how
like,
do you expect,
who do we look?
Who do we? Yes.
The land that we are on can be revoked. You know,
At this point,
the license that we own can be revoked by federal.
by
Land can be
federal,
revoked by state.
they're actually like
So-
middle of the deep blue sea and
Yes.
what
So
do you say that thing?
yeah, between the devil and the
devil
deep blue
and
sea.
deep
Which
blue
one is
sea,
devil
yeah.
self inside the two of them?
I don't know. I don't know that one. No, I don't.
We don't mean it
think,
literally though.
Anyway, now it has gone to a point where people are getting arrested. As in Kano State, a POS operator has been arrested because of all this drama. And they've even gone to the extent of arresting petrol attendants
Yeah.
for selling fuel above the pump
Price. Again, this is what we're saying. If we all agree to work together, if there's some kind of synergy, you know, and coordination. CBN says they want to do something. They do not even have the manpower for some of the things that they are claiming they're going to do. Like, for instance, the CBN governor coming out to say that they will arrest
POS operators.
How?
Even
How?
states cannot do even have the.
The states do to some extent.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You get?
The states have not even done it. They've not
So-
even done it successfully.
So that's where I was going.
Just one agency, like.
But that's where I was going. That if the CBN was really serious, what they could have done is that they could have actually, you know, worked with the state to say, okay, this is what we're doing. The state says, okay, we'll back you up with personnel. We'll back you up with this and that. If a few days ago we saw the prototype of a booth that Lagos State was setting up for cash swap. You get. We've seen people supporting some of these politicians who actually have licenses as POS operators who are doing free cash swaps. You understand? So it's actually possible to scale.
But just be you. Anyway, Sha, if you're in Kano State, I don't know about any other state too, you can actually be arrested at this
Oh yeah, but also yesterday
I'm just being nice.
the governor of Ogun State on his way to a campaign or something said that he had heard about a filling station that was hoarding fuel and all of that. So he went there and he spoke to the owner or the I saw the video where he was telling them to go and start selling at the normal price and everything, and that there was fuel that they had confirmed. So some people that were on the queue now came back to meet the governor before he left. That look, that they said they won't sell. The governor like, really? He now moved into the place. Of course, they started selling fuel to everybody at the normal price, and they were collecting the old Naira.
This is it's a very, very confusing time for Nigerians. But I hope that we actually really just scale through this a little bit or finally get through it quickly. But shout out to governors. I like the fact that we're getting to a point where that even people from the same party, we do not always have to agree with the same thing. Some governors are beginning to behave like governors, like they're actually responsible for their citizens and the welfare of their citizens. So that's it for me. Really, I think shout out to governors. I think they're doing,
especially when
some of them
when those things are anti people.
Yes, exactly.
You need to speak.
Exactly. So quickly, still talking about that, two Abuja-based lawyers have now dragged the president, CBN governor, and 5 others before a federal high court seeking enforcement of their fundamental rights against the newly introduced cashless policy.
So, again, these are matters of the law, and these are lawyers, and they must also first understand that they shouldn't jeopardize the case by adding Mr. President to it.
Yeah.
He has immunity.
Yeah.
He cannot be sued, regardless. So if I was them,
just put the federal government, yeah,
sue the Minister of Justice, had the nomenclature of the federal government.
It's very interesting how the Attorney General of the Federation, like one of your jobs, literally, is actually to get sued.
Yes, now.
That's actually very interesting.
Yes, now.
From day one, you're just getting sued left and right. Okay.
It's your job now. That's why you're paid handsomely for it. So I'm interested in the court case. I hope that it sees the light of day. But we cannot continue. We just can't continue, to always assume that because the president has said it, then that's the final. No, that's not democracy. The beauty of democracy is that it can be challenged, especially in the court of law. And now the Supreme Court really needs to speak because they don't want to lose their credibility and their power.
Yeah, exactly. So, quickly, let's move on from that. And let's move on to something very interesting that happened yesterday, which caused a bit of a rancor around the Ikorodu area in Lagos State, not Ogun State. Now, there's been a clarification that because jurisdiction matter.
Ikorodu spreads into Ogun State. People need to understand.
There was a bit of jurisdiction issue that news is out now. Ogun State police has said, no, it's not their own. When is a good thing that everybody likes to touch?
Yeah, Lagos State said it's not Lagos.
When is a bad thing? They say failure is an orphan. Everybody is trying to absorb themselves. Anyway, Ogun State has absorbed itself, saying that this is Lagos business. And why is this Lagos business? This happened when it said that a police officer allegedly stabbed a soldier. I have a question. I have questions. Are you well? Is a soldier involved in this matter? Like, I don't know how soldiers are like in other countries, yeah? The disparity or the difference between the Nigerian police and the Nigerian army are worlds apart. What was he thinking? Except you tell me that this person was in his right senses. It is bad enough that you do a lot of nonsense with civilians. You now carried it all the way to a soldier. I saw a video and pictures of the Nigerian army having a meeting with the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State already on this matter, because I'm like, this could degenerate into,
Well, I think they've already nipped it in the bud. If it was going to be bad, it would have happened yesterday. There are reports of the police station being sacked, and some vehicles were destroyed. Of course, the policeman was arrested. It was alleged that he was he was arrested by the army, but he's been released to the police. That's what we're hearing. However, the first question for me is stab, like knife or bottle or what? How did he stab a soldier? Again, was a soldier in mufti. I'm not saying that it's right to stab people in mufti. I'm just trying to walk through the whole thing, especially
now
based on
the problem is that according to what was said. Now, because it's Ikorodu and the area is kind of like a border area. There was a mob attack after that happened, and even some colleagues of the soldier had now gone ahead to attack another police station that sadly was in Ogun State. They burnt cars, and now when you're on your own, just seated on your own, and then
the trailer came to
jam you. Something that is not your business. Sorry, Ogun State Police Command. Sorry for the property
for the inconvenience.
Anyway, please go ahead. Just want to
again, it also goes back to how unprofessional some of our law enforcement people can be. You understand? I first wanted to highlight the weapon of choice. Like, okay, why?
Why? Yeah.
But again, it even should not be happening at all. Then again, you start to wonder if a policeman can do that to a soldier.
How much more like a regular civilian? Yeah.
What about you and me? How safe are we? If he could do that to a soldier. And how is it that soldiers always get, the pass when they break the law too?
Yeah.
Okay, so we get the part where a colleague of yours had been killed extrajudiciously or whatever, yeah?
But
why
attacking...
do you guys always feel that it's okay to carry out reprisal attacks?
And we get a lot of that.
And
we get
nothing
a lot of that.
ever happens. In Surulere, a couple of years ago, when I say a couple now, I actually mean a couple of years ago, at the Ojuelegba bus stop access, there was an issue between a soldier and a policeman. And before you could say, is it Jack Robinson that they'll say? Before
yes,
you could say,
Jack Robinson. Who's Jack Robinson, though?
I don't know. Is it the athlete guy or which one? There was one athlete that was that. But whatever it is, before you could say Jack Robinson, the divisional...
Wait.
The
That's
police...
a very interesting area.
Yeah.
Because down the road is barracks, the police barracks, and the soldier and the army barracks on that same road.
Exactly. There were two army barracks, barracks.
Yeah.
After the bridge, the Ojuelegba bridge.
Yeah.
Before the Ojuelegba bridge, there's a police
barracks.
And I think it's not a divisional. It's like area command.
It's area command. Yeah.
The soldiers marched from the army barracks to and burnt that place down. All the vehicles that were outside were destroyed. Every single one of them. Prisoners were let free. Oh, it was a crazy thing. This happened. Yeah. It took Lagos State government to rebuild that barracks. And they upgraded it and all of that. Yeah. But
what happened?
Did any of the soldiers... Yeah. Okay, I'm saying it is wrong for a policeman to kill a soldier.
But why must
is
we
it also
continue
right
in the...
for the military to always carry out reprisals?
Yes. I think that's a conversation.
Nobody's talking about it.
That needs to be had with soldiers. It's something... A few weeks ago, something like that happened...
In Benin.
Where...
in the university.
The university with students. And then that evening, we saw how soldiers came to attack...
what the students did was wrong.
Yeah.
But what the soldiers did too was wrong.
We see it happen a lot, and like you said, I don't think we actually talk about it.
Nothing happens.
Nothing ever happens.
Who has the liver now? Even we that we're talking now said they'll be like, now they talk for soldier. Now our work we do, and we're just saying everybody should be professional.
We're just pointing out the obvious. Anyway, quickly, the police have now announced that they're deploying about 310,000 personnel for the elections. Elections is about it's about 9 days from now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So 310,000 Nigerian men and women will be deployed to keep the law for the elections.
Yeah.
And we were here on Monday discussing this, something similar to this, during the political voyage with Yemi Saka. And Yemi raised the point that someone had raised too, that those people are disenfranchised. Think of 310,000 Nigerians that will never get to vote.
Do they ever get to vote?
They don't. They don't have a say. And a whole number of policemen like that don't have a say in who
you know that there are actually a lot of people that are kind of disenfranchised.
So the plan is to allow early voting.
Because they're just not just policemen or soldiers and all that not going to vote. There's also corps members that do not get to vote.
Exactly.
They are basically essential workers. Media people that cover the event.
Yes.
You do not vote. There are a lot of people.
All the health workers who will be on duty.
On duty do not vote. I don't know if it's a Nigerian thing. Or like you said, early voting might help. So
if you're looking at that, plus or minus 1 million to 2 million Nigerians.
Yes.
If not more, right? Shouldn't we start looking at that now and say, look, every Nigerian who is above 18 should be allowed to vote?
But we can also say that the fact that you decided to take up the job is part of the job.
It's you waived your right to vote. Well, I kind of tilt towards the...
Because there are a lot of... I think that there are a lot more people. I don't know if the party agents also get to vote.
Yeah, if you are registered at that polling unit, you can vote.
Because now bringing that, I know that there's a story that's been going around for days now. I don't know if you've seen it as well, and I also saw it again today. That out of everybody, because each political parties they were supposed to submit names of 2 agents each for each polling unit across the country, and there are only 3 political parties that have successfully submitted names for 178,000. There's a party, there's a story that allegedly that there's a party that has only submitted 40,000 for 40,000 polling units from 178,000. And in my mind, I'm like, if that is true, so how do you particularly monitor what's happening in about 138,000 polling units?
You follow ASA now. You go to social media and all of those
anyway
things. You know, because every time we talk about having structures and putting things in place,
those are the things
people tend to misconstrue, and we're talking about it now. You're talking about the need to have over 350,000 people from one party monitoring each PU.
Yeah.
Over 350,000 people. And that's just the polling unit. So there are coordinators, there are supervisors, you know, and all of that. There are people that will be in the situation rooms. You know, it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
It takes a lot to actually go on with an election. But anyway, just wanted to put that out there. Also, the United States is to return to the federal government a $954,000 loot from Alamasia.
Well, these are the sad stories that you get to hear when they say they are returning X amount to you. Some people get excited. Hey, some people are angry. Why should they not do it this way or that way? But this is the real issue. For too long, we have employed people who believe that they can dip their hand into the coffers of the state and get away with it. If it takes a foreign government to help you catch your thieves, don't look at the politicians alone. Look at your law enforcement people. I know even corporate bodies will find it difficult to ship out $900,000+ from Nigeria.
So how did that money move? It's not about how. So it's not just one person. What you're saying that there's your whole chain of people that are culpable.
So it goes beyond just the governor of Bayelsa stole money, the governor of Delta stole money, the governor of Edo stole money, or the president of Nigeria stole money. To all the people who are aiding and abetting these people.
Yeah.
And picture what $1 million would do in Bayelsa at the time that money was stolen.
Even now,
if it was just to build health centers, $1 million approximately, we shall build at least 10 health centers, if not more, at the value of $100,000 each.
Yeah.
Abi? But this is where we are now. This is where we are. It is sad. It is sad. So there's nothing to celebrate about U.S. government returning money that were stolen.
Money that shouldn't have even been stolen.
Shouldn't happen in the first place.
Anyway, quickly as we go, that there's a story of a man that has been jailed for 7 years for stealing a 6,500 naira phone.
Yeah.
What's the plan?
So the man robbed a student that was carrying a phone that the value was put at 6,500 naira. Then he gets arrested.
I would like to meet the judge.
He gets
Like,
arrested.
what's happening?
Now, the man who stole the phone is arrested, is taken to court, and the eyewitnesses who came to testify against him. When the case was heard, the judge passed a sentence of 7 years. 7 years. 7 years for stealing a phone worth 6,500 naira. Please.
I would like to meet the judge. Like, what's happening?
Before you think that I'm supporting a thief, no, wait. How do you sentence someone who stole billions? There are two former governors.
Remember the one that they told him to pay money?
There are 2
years old. This was just recently. They told him, sentence him to 2 years, or you should pay
option
fine.
with option of you get. There are other politicians. There was one recently that paid a fine. He works for one of the presidential campaigns. He paid a fine for monies that he received that he shouldn't have received.
Yeah, that's
running into millions of naira. He didn't even see prison. He didn't even see prison. He had the option of paying
6,500. Like,
there
makes sense.
2 former governors that were sentenced to prison. I think one of them got a pardon, if not both of them.
Both of 2 former governors got a pardon.
They got a pardon, and they stole millions.
Billions.
I don't want to say billions. I'm just being safe here. But there is a law that allows people who steal billions to not go to prison. They say they are doing something negotiation, some funny negotiation where they plea bargain.
Yeah. And someone that stole a
6,500 naira phone, no option,
not entitled to a plea bargain.
Do you know the sad part? No option of fine. 7 years in prison.
This is the kind of thing that I remember that there was. This reminds me of an older person who is a lawyer. Said he was in court for another case, but they had not called his case yet. So he just waited, and then they had brought someone that stole a goat, and the judge sentenced the person to, I think, some ridiculous, is it 20 years or 30 years, in something very ridiculous. Or like 3 lawyers, without saying anything, just got up and said they were going to appeal the case for the guy for free.
Immediately.
Like, what is happening here? Does this even make any sense?
Now, Nigeria has not built new prisons in recent times, maybe just 2 or 3. The old prisons are congested, and they are very old. Some of them were inherited from the colonizers. Then you're
sending someone that stole 6,500 naira
to 7 years.
Are you joking?
7 years in prison.
To me, I'm sorry, that's even waste of taxpayers' money. Because
7 years.
You are going to have to feed and clothe the person for 7 years. That does not make any sense. That's waste of resources.
If they had played up the fact that he had priors, nobody said that. If they had played up the fact that it was a violent crime, nobody said that. But I'm saying that it's the value of the phone. And the phone is valued at 6,500 naira. Double that and make it 13,000 naira. You sent the man to prison for 7 years. Our judicial
system is one of the major issues we have in this country. And that's the honest truth.
We need to speak to lawyers. If you're listening to us, if you're watching us, if you're interested in getting judged, I don't know this man from Adam.
It just doesn't make
but
any
it
sense.
Needs to
like,
get
I don't have to be a lawyer for
justice.
To know that whatever this
is a miscarriage of justice. 7 years.
It does not make any sense.
7 years for stealing a phone worth 6,500 naira.
This is the reason why it definitely made the news. Anyway,
how much is $1 in the black market? How much is $1?
That's not even up to. That's about. Let's even say the dollar is even 650.
Yes.
That's $10.
$10 worth of phone. You send a man to prison
for 7 years.
And there you are. Someone was caught stealing billions, and they still accord him all the respect that they can in the world.
Anyway, quickly now, Governor Wike Before a bit of entertainment news, Governor Wike has now said that there is no last minute deal with the PDP anymore. He made this, he always has talks almost every day now.
Oh yeah, Media Palace is a regular. He should actually be hosting his own podcast. Governor Wike, think about it. Like, you sit down.
You understand?
You have drinks like us, and you just package your own.
Yeah, he's saying
he go sell.
He will
that.
sell. He will sell. I
People
swear.
will watch him. If he didn't day, he didn't day. Think about it, Governor Wike. Let's do business.
Podcasts.
Yes, now. As he dey sweet us, he dey pain
See,
them.
he already has slogan.
He has the bed. He has the payoff.
Payoff. Everything is perfect. Anyway, Governor Wike in his media chat has now said that he owes nobody an apology or an explanation to have hosted the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress.
We have a message from YouTube. Bukola Medubi says, I don't know what to say, but something must be done about the release of the man. Really and truly.
Yeah.
Really and truly, something has to be done.
It does not make any sense.
Please, if God places it in your heart, please work with us on this. We will make a few calls after this show. If there's something that can be done legally, let us do it. 6,500 naira.
Judges. Okay.
$10.
We'll all be here. Anyway. Now he's saying that he said that after being asked about the possibility of a last-minute deal with the presidential candidate of his party, he said, no, we can't do that. It is over. I said that we have said it and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Now, they believe they can win the election. I'm not ready to sit down with anybody again.
Yes, it's an interesting one for Nigerian politics. When the story of this year's election is told, the G5 and the integrity group of the PDP would have at least one chapter where we will look at them and say, oh, these are the things
and we'll see.
that
By the
transpire.
time we see the results of the elections, then maybe we'll be able to see exactly who they
how powerful they are or how impactful their utterances are. But we get their grievances. We understand it. One of the top spokesmen for former Vice President Atiku, Daniel Bawala, was even like talking about how they are going to go into an alliance with Rabiu Kwankwaso. I saw the headline a few moments ago, and I'm like, okay, this is...
Yeah, he's coming from the PDP anyway.
This is interesting. It was coming from APC too, Kwankwaso. So...
Nigerian politicians like jumping.
Oh, they're amazing people. They're amazing people. But, so it looks like the die is cast now, especially with what happened in Port Harcourt yesterday at the Adokia Mercy Market Stadium, where the APC had their rally.
I did not think for River State from time memoriam have always been a PDP state. Of course, the honest truth is that the APC is the ruling party. They definitely will have a bit of, their own loyalists as well. Maybe not as much as the PDP in a PDP state. That's always been a PDP state. But I didn't expect that kind of crowd.
Yeah, what is more intriguing is that every state has its own peculiarities. In River State, there's the Magnus Abe angle. He went to SDP. He wants to be governor. Used to be one time PDP, then he was the APC for a while, then he went to SDP. There's Tonya Cole, who is APC, gubernatorial candidate. There's Wike himself, who is campaigning for his accountant general to become...
We don't know where he is.
Yeah. And all those elements were in the stadium yesterday. The SDP also turned out for the presidential rally. So if you start to look at those things, because from state to state, it varies. In River State, it is an interesting thing. And we'll definitely
see. We'll definitely see how... We know that Rivers has, I think, the third highest... in the southwest, I think in the south really, I think the second highest number of voters, I think, after Lagos State.
Yeah.
So it's actually a very
if you're going to count if
It's
you're
a
going
very
to
important
if you're going to
state.
count 6 states, or is it 6 or 7 states with the highest number? Rivers is one of
Yeah,
them.
so it's a very important state. I honestly did not think that PDP should not have done their rally, but they're saying that
They
there
say they're
was
still going to go there.
stories of violence and all that. So if violence is what is made them stop it, then it
No,
makes
but the
perfect
PDP
sense.
said that they are still going to go to
Ah,
Rivers. They said they are
okay.
going to go there. There's still time. There's 9 days.
Okay, so quickly before we go, sadly, remember the Turkey Syria earthquakes that happened. Now the death toll has gotten to as high as 42,000 people.
It's, I think, unprecedented in the history of such disasters. I'm not sure I've ever heard of this kind of toll before. Maybe we need to look into that and be sure about it. But it's really sad. It's really sad.
Very sad.
It is
It's a very
something
sad
that
thing.
you can't blame anybody for. You cannot blame the government. You can. It is an earthquake. You understand? Another thing that I'm happy about is how the whole world has come together to help Turkey. You know, even African nations are sending rescue teams and resources
they
and
definitely
everything.
need all the help that they
You
can.
know,
The stories
42,000.
about a 17-year-old that was pulled out.
Yeah. What about the old woman that was
The
pulled
old
out
woman,
days after?
Yesterday. Yeah, the 17-year-old was pulled out yesterday. 2 days ago, there was, I think, a child, a 7-year-old. It's good.
One of the most iconic pictures from that, sorry to cut you short, is the picture of a girl who was caught under the rubble, and her hand was just above her brother's head. And I put both of them at maybe ages 7 and 5 or something.
Oh.
And regardless of how the boulder was leaning on them, she still had her hand on top of her brother's head, trying to protect him in her own way. They both came out alive though, but that melted me. It made me feel some kind of way.
It's our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Turkey and Syria at this point. I hope that they still find more survivors. It will be a good thing for more people to come out of this alive. Quickly, there's a story, a very interesting story that popped up this morning as Nigerian artists Burna Boy, Tems, and Rema are set to perform at the NBA All-Star 2023 halftime show.
It's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
It's a big deal if you know how big the All-Star weekend is for Americans.
Yeah, and how big the music scene is for Americans.
Yeah.
And it is now headlined by Nigerian artists.
Yeah,
It's
so the
amazing.
All-Star weekend is close to the halftime show in the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
I'm not saying it's the same, but I'm saying it's that big too. You get, and to now have an artist, play there it's a good time
it's amazing.
to be Nigerian and to
is.
follow
It
the
is
progress
amazing.
of these guys. It's just a welcome development, and now this is going to make a lot of us stay up to watch the All-Star weekend, because you want to really see how it pans out with them.
Oh yeah, definitely would say. Just putting it out there. Today is shout out to Governor El-Rufai. Today's birthday is 63. Today, a lot of accolades have been coming up, and finally, before we go, Tiwa Savage has now come out to say that she is a lead actress, executive producer, and a co-director in a movie called Water and Gary. This is a first ever film, and I think it's interesting, that she's actually delving into other things. It's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, it is actually, and Water and Gary, of course, derived from her album, and it's her own debut too. She's also involved with directing and acting, and it's a story about I think an African fashion designer who I think went to America, then came back home to settle some scores or answer some questions and all. It's been shot, or has been shot in Ghana, and it's something that a lot of people will be looking forward to.
Oh yeah, definitely. And on that note, thank you for listening. Thank you very, very much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time. It's a lot of music is already out. So, of course, you'll definitely catch us for a lot of analysis of all that music and much more at 3 p.m. West African time and Boombar on boomradio.com.ng. Have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.
Peace.